You are about to become the highest and best version of yourself. Don't let past karma hold you back. On today's Oblyron Divination. Greetings, soul family. I am Oblyron, the Lord of Love and the Magister of the Cube. Thank you for joining me on today's Elemental Synastry reading. It's a divination technique I devised, which uses the tarot, astrology, and the 5 elements. So this reading transcends space and time, and if you resonate with this message, then this message is for you. And if you do resonate with it, then feel free to leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. Okay, so I draw a tarot card to see what is influencing each of the elements. And now we are starting off with the element of spirit, which is represented by the bell. So what is influencing the element of spirit? Okay. All right, so we have the inverted 9 of Swords, and yeah, this is a good sign. It generally means that the nightmare is over. It means that whatever was in our heads has pretty much been exposed as it pretty much just being within our head, and we didn't need to worry about it. We just had to go through what we had to go through, and now we're coming outside of the other end of the tunnel. So this is in the spirit, which means that it hasn't quite manifested yet, but it is in the works. So yeah, definitely what is coming to us, there is a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. We may have been in some, deep, dark, alone, scary places, but the spirit is working on bringing us out of that. All right, so let's see, what do the astrology die have to say about that? Okay, so we have Uranus in Cancer in the 10th house. All right, very interesting read there. Okay, let me line this up real quick. All right, so I roll twice, once for the house and a second time for the decan. 11. All right, so we're in the 3rd decan of Cancer. All right, let's line this up. Okay. All right. Okay, so essentially what's happening here is Uranus has come in, and it generally means sort of the planet of rebellion, which is what I'm getting here. And with it being in the sign of Cancer, it generally has to refer to our sense of community and identity, or I should say our sense of identity, mostly tied in with the home life. So this is saying reestablish an identity within the home life, reestablish your identity, who you view as family, who you view as those being close to you. And it's also suggesting to go through a period of introspection and sort of being alone as well. So the 3rd decan of Cancer is let's see, it's the discontent decan. Basically, we are alone. We need time to have our space. We have to have time to sort of reflect on what's been happening, and it's also influenced by the moon. So you have a lot of lunar energy influencing not only Cancer, but also the 3rd decan of Cancer. And again, the nighttime is also influencing this 9 of Swords as well, because again, the 9 of Swords is also, it can also be relabeled as a nightmare card. And so a lot of nightmares, a lot of things sort of hidden inside of us that need to come to light, and a lot of sort of redefining as well, who we are within our identity. It's also in the 10th house, which is influenced by Capricorn, which goes back to our career and status and again another sense of self. So we're looking at identifying, at learning to sort of re-identify ourselves both in our home life and in our career life, it seems. A sort of redefining of who we are, what we value, and And it needs to be a process that we have to go through alone, which is what's denoted by the third decan of Cancer. All right, very interesting. Let's move right along and see what the other elements have to say about that. So yeah, we start off with the Spirit, and now we go over to the Wands, which represent fire. And what you're going to find is all of these readings, or I should say all of the elements, all relate back to the element of Spirit as well. So they're kind of little subcategories within the major category. All right. So what's influencing fire? What do we have? Ace of Pentacles. All right, cool. Here, let's put this over here. Okay. So, Ace of Pentacles generally refers to some type of windfall coming in, some type of it could be spiritual. It could also even be on the material world as well, because pentacles represent both the material and the spiritual. So generally when we look towards the element of fire, it has to refer to our ambitions, and it has to deal with our drive. So pretty much this Ace of Pentacles could mean either a newfound sort of windfall in our drive. It could even represent that, part of that windfall is also a financial windfall, and that helps to kind of spur on, let's say, these new endeavors that is represented by the fire. So I think regardless of whether or not it is a financial windfall, or whether or not it's just sort of newfound drive or newfound success within oneself, the element of fire is definitely in a position of power to manifest what it needs to. And again, with the element of Spirit saying that, the nightmare is over, this is pretty much free reign to start over again, to create what you want. It's sort of like ultimate manifesting power. All right, so let's see what the astrology die have to say to that. Okay, so we have the South Node in Gemini in the 4th house. Wow, okay. So again, 4th house, we have Cancer. We have Cancer's influence over there, and now we have Cancer's influence over here in the 4th house. Now, it's not quite the exact same because they are houses and they are signs, but similar energies. Okay, let's re-roll for the decan. 5. All right. Okay. Wow, very interesting. So we have the middle decan of Gemini popping up here over on the element of fire. Now, the middle decan of Gemini is the Lord of Cruelty and Despair. And what's interesting is the middle decan of Gemini is also represented by the 9 of Swords. So on one hand, in the spirit, we have sort of the Lord of Cruelty and Despair saying, all right, I relinquish this, you're going to have good things coming in the spirit. And then on the other hand, with the element of fire, we have it popping up again. But this time it's saying that we haven't quite cleared our karmic debts yet. Yeah, we do have a lot that is going to happen in the element of fire. We do have a lot which is very beneficial in helping us manifest, but also at the same time, not everything is just going to be a cakewalk. Here we still have some elements, especially towards, let's say, our past lives and our karmic bonds. We still have sort of a lot of unresolved issues which is happening. And the fact that it's also in the 4th house, which is Cancer, it's almost like these are inverted readings of each other in a sense. So here it's saying, the planet of Uranus is saying, all right, we need a rebellion in the home life. And here we're saying when it comes to the home life, there's a lot of past emotional baggage, which is also sort of keeping this from going into full-blown manifestation. I would say, I would say the key to really getting this Ace of Pentacles, because again, aces are a lot like the spirit over here in that it hasn't manifested yet. Aces generally represent that which is about to come to us, but again, it hasn't quite manifested. It's sort of pure energy at this point still. And I would say one of the ways in which we can get this fire energy to fully manifest is to look to the past, look to the maybe the karmic relationships in our families, look to the lessons we had to learn from them, to be able to fully get our fire, our ambition, and our spirit to move on. What's also really interesting, let's see. Oh yeah, we have we have an opposition here too. Yeah, I mean, you can't make this up. So we have an opposition also between the fire and the spirit. Now, in this case, I would say it's almost like they're sort of like mirror images of each other in a sense, because we have a lot of the same symbolism represented here between the tarot card influencing spirit and between the astrology die, and also between the houses and the astrology die that they consist of. So I would say in this opposition, it's almost like they're two halves of the same coin. And when we realize that we have so much going for us on one hand, and that the nightmare is over, really look towards those other lessons to really teach us exactly how we want to manifest and where we want to go from here on out. Because sometimes, being released of your past karmic debts, as denoted with the South Node, being released of your past karmic debts kind of puts us in a lonelier position because we don't know what we want. And then that's when you got to go to your North Node. But yeah, okay, let's move on and come back to this really interesting chart forming. All right. Okay, so the next element we have is the element of air, which is represented by the swords. Now, the swords can represent our communication. It can represent, let's say, our intellectual pursuits. Just generally how we tend to communicate with others. Let's see. Okay, so let's see what's influencing air. All right, the sun. So whatever is happening between these two elements, when it comes to air, apparently, we're having a rather victorious day. Perhaps something has come to light. Perhaps, we were doing a lot of work into studying and finding what's been influencing our behavior, and that was discovered through the element of air. It's a very positive reading right now. The sun also represents a lot of self-healing. It represents a lot of illumination, and it represents just a lot of things which sort of bring to light a lot of our questions too. A lot of our questions are answered. So I would say whatever sort of intellectual endeavors that's been started to understand oneself, or maybe any communicative endeavors that have been started, keep on following those, because those seem to be the keys to healing, especially these two elements. So yeah, whatever's been happening in the element of air has been really good, really healing. Okay, let's see what the astrology die have to say about that. Okay, so we have Mercury in Gemini in the first house. Wow, okay. It's really interesting because we have, the sun yeah, a lot of fire energy. So we got the fire energy of the sun. We have the first house, which is Aries, which is fire. And also between the air elements, Mercury can also represent air and our communication. And so it's also been influencing this as well. So I would say that communication has been a very healing effect. It's been very beneficial to the self into trying to heal and to move on these sort of karmic lessons, and to move on, what's been on replay in our heads. Okay, so let's re-roll for the deck in. 1. All right. So what I'm getting here is the first decan of Gemini is the Lord of Shortened Force, and it's influenced by Jupiter. And what happens is it's a decan whose lesson is to learn how to. It's when you have too many options and you don't know exactly how to go into action because you're just interested in too many things. So on one hand, with it relating to the self, with it relating to the healing process and to Mercury and all this air energy, on one hand, it's been very healing. It's been very healing to communicate again. It's been very healing to, probably make new friends, probably, maybe establish contacts with people that you haven't talked to in a while. It's on one hand, it's been very healing, but also on the other hand, there's only so long we should dwell in that. We shouldn't get too wrapped up in it, because that can also lead to being more of a debilitating factor. We only want to use it to heal and to get us back on path. But the moment that it starts to feel like we have too many options or that there's too much going on, that's when we have to start to pare it back a little bit and to be able to get some direction going again. So on one hand, it's very healing, it's very nice, but on the other hand, don't use it out of balance as well. And again, take this moment to reflect on the self. Take this moment to really take some time for yourself too. Aries is all about the self, and our persona. So yeah, definitely some light at the end of the tunnel. It's the sun right there. Okay, let's move right along. All right, the next element is the element of Earth, which is represented by the Pentacles. And like I was saying earlier, Earth can represent both physical and material wealth. They're pretty much one and the same when it comes to spirituality, interestingly enough. All right. So, what is influencing the element of Earth? All right. Some of these cards are a bit louder than others. All right, the Seven of Swords. Okay. Wow, we don't get that one popping up too much. Let's see. So the Seven of Swords. Okay. It is... Yeah. Trying to see how it fits in with this. I would say... Yeah. Okay, so it's called the Lord of Unstable Effort, and it's influenced by the moon. Again, a lot of lunar energy. We got Cancer here, a lot of lunar energy. All right, so something is happening where there's a lot that's about to manifest. We're discovering a lot within ourselves, but also at the same time, there is something sort of unexpected happening. There is something. It's a bit shaky when it comes to the material realm or even the spiritual realm. Maybe maybe perhaps, you know, the element of earth does not, want to quite believe that the nightmare is over yet. So, we're kind of a bit cautious in how we proceed forward, because I mean, even on a karmic level, things have kind of been, really down for a while. So when there is light at the end of the tunnel, you're probably not believing it yet. You're probably just saying, okay, well, yeah, things may be getting a little bit better, but I don't know yet. I'm still going to kind of carry on in the old ways, kind of carry on in the new way. Maybe you're kind of in between habits with this. You can also be saying, okay, I've started something new. I'm seeing results from that, but I'm not quite there yet. That could also be suggested by this. All right, so let's see what the astrology die have to say for this. Okay, so we have Jupiter in Scorpio in the 8th house. All right, a lot of Scorpio energy. Okay, let's line this up real quick. Okay, and let's re-roll for the decan. 7. All right, so the middle decan of Scorpio is the Lord of Pleasure. And it's interesting that we have Jupiter in the middle decan of Scorpio in the 8th house, which is influenced by Scorpio. All right. Okay, so what I'm gathering is, I think it goes back to this karmic level here. Let's see, 30, 91, 20. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it kind of goes back to this karmic lesson over here, because Scorpio also has to deal a lot with death and inheritance. And so essentially what it's suggesting is whatever happened in the past, keep it in the past. This is something that you've inherited from the past, even on a karmic level. However, now's the time to, again, move on from it. We have in the spirit a new era about to manifest. We have in the element of air a lot of healing, and even in the element of fire, there's a lot of potential that's about to happen. So even though there's a lot to be sort of, let's say, maybe not having 100% faith in it, and there's a lot of reasons to not have faith, even though that there's all these reasons, and even though you're a bit trepidatious about moving forward, still move forward, because good things are about to come your way. And it looks like, yeah, and you have Jupiter in the Lord of Pleasure. So essentially it's saying expand through what gives you joy and what gives you pleasure. The Lord of Pleasure also has a nostalgic element to it. So let's say, it's the nostalgic elements of childhood that we look to. On one hand, here we have karmic lessons and everything, and then on another hand, we have, there's a lot to look back to as well. There was a lot of good. Not everything that happens to us is always going to be good or bad or whatever. It's what we choose to do from here on out. So this is saying, recognize that past, recognize it, but also recognize the beneficial parts about it, recognize the nostalgic parts about it, and that'll also help to move on. Let's see. Oh, we almost have a trine here. Almost. It's a little bit off. Let's see. Yeah, not quite there. Oh, 4, 30, 60, 2. No, everything's just a little bit off. All right, let's go right along. So now we are going to the last element, the element of water, which is represented by the cups. Now the water can represent our intuition, it can represent our emotions, it can represent the past, in particular the ancestors as well. All right, so what is influencing water? Okay. Been a very interesting read so far. I'm curious to see how this all affects us on an emotional level. Sometimes a reading could be entirely good and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, what's happening on the emotional level? We're falling to pieces there. I don't know what's going to happen here. What is water being influenced by? Oh, okay. The inverted 7 of Cups. Okay. Well, it's not too bad. Let me kind of get this going a little bit. Inverted 7 of Cups can mean a couple of things. Yeah, I would say in this situation, cool. All right, on this situation, it ties back into the emotion of spirit. Here, like I was saying, the emotion or the what's influencing spirit is that the nightmare is over. The nightmare card. All right, it's inverted. With the inverted 7, it's saying that the confusion is lifted. So on both an emotional level and on a spiritual level, we are liberated through these particular elements. Well, even on some of the other elements, it's a lot of sort of release from bondage sort of lessons that's happening here. So yeah, definitely a lot of positivity. So basically, the fog has been lifted. Whatever work you've been doing is about to be rewarded. The 7 of Cups is influenced by Saturn, and in the inverted position, it means that the lessons of Saturn were learned, and now we get to move on in a much more fulfilled and satisfying way. Okay, so let's see what is influencing that, or what the astrology die have to say. Excuse me. Okay, so Venus in Leo in the 4th house. All right, some more 4th house energy. Let's see what decan we're in. Okay, 2. All right. Okay, let's line this up real quick. Okay, so, aha! And we do have a trine with that. Okay, cool. Now we got some things popping in to focus a little bit more. So we have Venus in Leo, or I should say in the 1st decan of Leo. Now the 1st decan of Leo is the Lord of Strife, which means that there is some sort of competition which is happening. There is some sort of conflict. It could either be for sport or it could be an actual conflict, whatever that is. So here it's suggesting that, let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting because we have both a conjunction happening here and the element, and these two elements are also trined. So let me get to the conjunction first. It's both taking place in Cancer. It's both taking place in the 4th house, which definitely has a lot to deal with our home life. We have Cancer here. We have also the two 4th house reads here. So a lot is happening with our home. And on one hand, it's saying, look, on an emotional level, that there's been conflict. At the home, on the home level, there's been a lot of conflict, probably between family members, probably between people that we view as family. So there's been a lot of conflict there. And also on On a karmic level, there has been a lot of issues with the home life as well. But look, it's now time to move on from that. I would say with Venus's influence there, it would suggest that, try and look towards the look more towards the upside of things is what I would suggest. Try and find the beauty of the situation. Try and find, maybe not necessarily the beauty. Try and look towards the positives. Try and look towards the lessons of the situation. Yeah, sometimes we were dealt a bad hand of cards when it comes to, let's say, the people who should be closest to us in life, but also at the same time, everyone is meant to teach us a lesson. So now's the time, in order to truly manifest what you want to manifest, now's the time to let go of the past. Let go of those things that are holding you back, because we're moving on from that. And again, you have this in opposition with this, and you also have it in conjunction with this, and then you have elements of air and water also forming a trine. So there's a lot of synergy that's happening, and a lot of synastry that's happening between these elements. Here it's saying, this trine right here is that you're healing, you're moving on, and you're communicating, and you're getting out there. And keep on doing that, because that'll also help lift the fog of these emotional scars even more. It'll help lift the fog of it'll help to clarify things more. It'll help to put into perspective what happened on the home life, and it'll be therapeutic and also helping to move on. It's just communicating that, getting out of there, healing yourself, and looking towards those things that are healing yourself. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? Those weren't forming anything. So yeah, a lot of things are happening here between the different elements, and definitely a lot of lessons to learn. But overall, I think this is a very positive reading. Again, it all relates back to the spirit, which is suggesting that, yes, the nightmare is over. Look towards rebuilding yourself. Look towards reevaluating what really matters to you in life, whether it's your career, whether it's your home life. When we go, and that's in opposition to the element of fire, which is also saying, a similar thing. It's saying, okay, there's karmic lessons that were learned. Now we have all this abundance coming in. Don't be held up in your south node. Don't be held up on those karmic lessons. Learn from it, move on, and manifest. And again, it's saying over here with the element of air, it's that, you're on the right path with that. You're healing, keep on moving on, but don't get stuck in having too many options. Know when to cut it off and when to have that direction again. Here it's suggesting, okay, some emotional baggage may have been inherited, but at the same time, we're moving on from that. Learn to see the good side of things. Learn to appreciate the positive aspects of the past as well. And here on the emotional level is, yes, things have been cleared out, and now you see everything. The damage may have already been done. The hurt is still there, but at least now we can move on, because we can see things with clarity. Okay, so I think that's about it for today. If you've resonated with this message, then feel free to leave a comment and let us all know how you've resonated with it. I would love to hear from you. Thank you all for joining me on today's episode. Much love and blessings. I love you all, and I hope to see you all again next week.